The first episode of The Penguin has finally released on Max, and the new installment in Matt Reeves' The Batman crime saga is off to a great start. It's a debut episode that sets the gangster tone of the spin-off, introduces the power grab aspect of the show well, and gives us some brilliant central performances from both Colin Farrell and Cristin Milioti. So in this explained analysis, I'm going to be giving you my breakdown of The Penguin Episode 1, titled After Hours, discussing full plot details, the ending, and much more. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, then I would recommend checking it out before watching my breakdown. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my future content surrounding the Penguin series, the Batman saga, and other upcoming DC projects, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my explained video for the Penguin Episode 1. So The Penguin, which exists in the same universe as Matt Reeves' 2022 film The Batman, premiered on HBO last night. This series unfolds just a week after the events of the film, exploring the chaos that ensued following the Riddler's devastating actions that submerged much of Gotham. With the Riddler having eliminated Carmine Falcone, now played by Mark Strong in this series, a significant power vacuum has emerged within Gotham's criminal landscape. And for those who reside in the elite circles above the city, like Bruce Wayne and the Falcone family, the impact is primarily felt through the absence of a once powerful figure. It appears that Bruce Wayne or the Batman will not dominate this series, and that's perfectly acceptable. We'll see him again in the next movie, and this episode's approach demonstrates that his presence isn't necessary for every moment in this universe. My only question against this though, after watching the first episode, is that with the chaos about to go down in the crime world of Gotham, then surely Batman would be around to confront this at some point. Hopefully there's an answer for that as the show progresses, but for an episode 1 revolving around Penguin and the crime element in Gotham, this was an excellent start, or continuation if you will, from the events of The Batman Part 1. From the outset of this first episode, it becomes clear that chaos dominates the lives of those residing at street level in Gotham City. The barrage of news reports using Michael Giacchino's iconic Batman theme immerse us in the depths of urban decline, and it will feel strikingly recognisable. In The Penguin, Oswald Cobb, portrayed by Colin Farrell, attempts to navigate this turmoil but encounters resistance from various fronts, including the unpredictable Sofia Falcone, played by Cristin Milioti, who is the daughter of Carmine. Oswald Cobb starts the series right where we last saw him in Matt Reeves' film, gazing out at the sprawling cityscape. The news reports echo ominously, warning that the situation is about to deteriorate further, with some ready to exploit the chaos for their own gain. Oz recognises this moment as his opportunity to assert dominance over the city for good. And while his strategy remains a mystery, the expressions on his face in those opening moments reveal everything we need to know. Anyway, a week later, we find Oz breaking into the Iceberg Lounge, intent on uncovering secrets from his late boss's safe. He successfully retrieves a hefty file filled with blackmail evidence, including photos of Michael Kelly's underboss, Johnny Vitti. After stashing away the file, he reaches for some diamonds, only to be confronted by Michael Zegan's Alberto Falcone, who has a gun aimed at him. Despite the threat, Oz remains composed, showering praise on the new boss and claiming he intended to safeguard Carmine's treasures for his son. Al seems skeptical at this, but allows it all to unfold, eager to play with Oz. At Oz's suggestion, they toast to Al's ascension as Gotham's new kingpin, and Al tosses him a hefty necklace from the collection. Al then unveils that he has an ambitious plan to expand the Gotham drug trade beyond drops, pondering whether he can truly measure up to the legacy of his father. And this sparks Oz to launch into a captivating monologue about the legendary gangster who once ruled his neighbourhood during his childhood. Rex Calabrese was a powerful figure in the underworld, earning admiration by taking care of those in his community. Oz recalls how if a family member fell ill, Calabrese would ensure they received medical attention, and if struggling to pay rent, he'd also lend a hand. He explains that when Calabrese passed away, the community honoured him with a grand parade. And he finally poses a question back at Al, saying, "Can you imagine to be remembered like that?" This lesson completely bypasses Al, leading to a violent outcome right at the beginning of this opening episode. And that's because Al ridicules him, suggesting that he's comparing him to a minor player and that this is really Oz's ambition. As Al continues to mock him, Penguin pulls out his gun and shoots him dead. After doing so, Penguin initially smirks and laughs, but soon realizes the chaos he has now unleashed. Taking out the heir to the Falcone Empire just as he was about to take the throne could spell trouble for him, and with the situation now irreversible, his only choice is to embrace it. So the remainder of this episode illustrates how Oz capitalizes on this incident to further his own agenda. Oz barely manages to stuff Al's body into the trunk of his car, but not without encountering another problem as he exits the Iceberg Lounge. He catches a group of teenagers attempting to steal from his vehicle. After scaring most of them away, he finds Renzi Felice's character Victor Aguilar, a frightened kid who doesn't escape the situation. And this moment also becomes a surprising turning point for Oz. Initially intent on killing Victor, he hesitates upon recognizing a shared vulnerability. When Victor stammers, begging for his life during their first encounter, Oz is taken aback and his anger begins to fade. And that's because he sees a reflection of his own struggles, particularly in the boy's speech impediment, which resonates with Oz's own hidden insecurities about his disfigured foot. So instead of eliminating Victor, he decides to mentor him. By promising Victor power and wealth at the expense of the elite, Oz is essentially extending that promise to all of Gotham. He is crafting his image as the charming successor to Rex Calabrese, and you can already glimpse the future he envisions for himself. Moving on, back at the Falcone headquarters, the tension is truly palpable. Underboss Johnny Vitti has summoned Oz to the Falcone mansion to address his drop operation. They plan to shut down his facility due to increasing police and rival gang threats. Oz protests this, arguing that surrendering the plan would effectively hand control to the Moronis. He insists on a more significant role in their operations, claiming he has intel on a shipment that could transform the drug trade. But just as he tells them that, Cristin Milioti Sofia Falcone, known as the Hangman, makes her entrance. Recently released from Arkham, she brings a chilling presence when she arrives on screen. The name Hangman hints at connections to the comic series The Long Halloween Dark Victory, suggesting that a familiar yet altered narrative could unfold beyond this episode. Penguin is taken aback by her arrival, and she persistently inquires him about her brother's fate. And frustrated by the lack of answers, she promptly invites him to have lunch with her. Now, for both Oz and Sofia, fitting in is a crucial element of Gotham's power structure. Oz yearns to be a part of it, even though he professes a desire to dismantle it. He grew up idolizing the mobster Rex Calabrese, whom he recalls as a kind-hearted and respected figure in his community. For Oz, this is the identity he wishes to embrace, leaving his past behind, partly due to the expectations set by his mother, who believes he is entitled to everything. In contrast, Sofia finds herself on the opposite end of this spectrum, as she is entrenched in the mob's operations, but feels out of place, illustrated by her tale of her father paying her to conform. Vitti might have brushed off Oz's proposal to manage a new drug venture, but Sofia skillfully draws him in by appealing to their mutual feeling of being outsiders. However, as their meal continues, she reveals to Oz that Alberto mentioned he was at the Iceberg Lounge that previous night, and walking in on Oz promoting her brother's new drug operation as if it were his own raises her suspicions. She presses him again about her brother's whereabouts, and Oz cleverly deflects this, claiming that Al has kept them uninformed and suggests that he's likely on another bender. The news reports and the opening scene featuring Al at the beginning of this episode highlight that this is a pressing concern that many know about. So after narrowly avoiding a confrontation with Sofia, Oz begins to feel a wave of anxiety. He boards the train, leaving his old neighbourhood behind to pick up his mother, Frances Cobb. Through Victor's eyes, we gain insight into Oz's family dynamics as he observes the photographs adorning the living room walls, including one of a determined mother with her 3 sons. Frances serves as a powerful influence in her son's life and career, and she believes that Oz didn't act against Alberto out of mere impulse, but rather out of instinct. Now it's his moment to step up, to seize control of the city, and fleeing is the last option he should consider. While there, Oz and Victor take a moment to watch the 1946 film Gilda, a quintessential noir that sparks a moment of quiet contemplation for Oz. The film's themes resonate with the intricate dynamics between Oz and the ongoing conflict between the Falcones and the Moronis. And that's because Gilda features a central love triangle where the title character's entanglement with two men leads to a tangled web of conflict. So this serves as a metaphor for how Oz's strategic maneuvering in the Falcone-Moroni feud creates similar chaos, marking the beginning of his scheming. After this, Oz shares a candid conversation with Victor at the station, expressing that the world isn't designed for individuals like them, implying that they must seize what they can. This reveals Oz's commitment to seizing power and outsmarting those who believe they are superior. With Victor firmly on his side, Oz then makes his way to Blackgate for a conversation with the imprisoned Salvatore Moroni, portrayed by Clancy Brown. He proposes that Moroni's gang carry out a heist-on-the-drops operation using the information he has. Initially, Sal dismisses him, telling him to get lost. However, Oz has brought along Sal's old ring, the one Carmine claimed as a symbol of his dominance over the city. This unexpected token suggests that Oz might be more formidable than Salvatore realizes, and at this moment, the aging mob boss remains unaware that Oz is actually orchestrating a setup against him. This brings us to the ending of episode 1, and everything falls into place regarding Oz's true intentions. Upon returning to his home, Oz is met by Sofia and her henchmen, who quickly recognize his distinctive car. They overpower him, knock him unconscious, and take him captive. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself naked in a Falcone greenhouse with Sofia looming over him. And just when it appears that Oz is out of options and Sofia's henchman is about to sever his arm with a wire, a car crashes through the front lawn, colliding with a statue. Inside the trunk is Alberto's lifeless body, missing is his finger and ring, and the word payback is scratched beneath the hood. Sofia screams in shock while Oz laughs back in the greenhouse, realizing that he has the upper hand. With Salvatore Moroni currently in possession of the ring, it suggests to Sofia that Sal orchestrated a hit on Alberto Falcone. So Penguin is let go and has put the first step of his plan to work. Victor was the one who sent that car flying in, and by the episode's conclusion, as he shares a slush with Oz, we discover that the original plan was to leave only Alberto's head in that trunk. Nevertheless, he managed to pull it off successfully, and the episode wraps up with them gazing out over the city, hinting that Penguin will take further steps in seizing control of Gotham's criminal underworld. As we survey the Gotham skyline in that final shot, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 plays out, adding an unexpected twist to the mood of that final scene. The classic song, originally composed for the film of the same name, centers on the message of equality, telling the story of office workers seeking retribution against their arrogant bosses. While Oz may be a criminal, he perceives himself as standing up against the elite and reclaiming what he believes is rightfully his. Therefore, the use of the song 9 to 5, with its themes of ambition and revenge, resonates deeply with the motivations of the Penguin. And Oz's strategy at the conclusion of this episode to redirect the Falcone's focus towards the Moronis is nothing short of brilliant. This move not only softens Sofia's doubts regarding his involvement in Al's murder, but it also shakes up the criminal power structure in the city. The ways in which he will exploit this situation will likely become clearer in the episodes ahead. But that was my breakdown and analysis for The Penguin episode 1. Overall, I thought it was a fantastic opening episode for the Max show, one that sets the tone of it well, and one that also transitions the viewpoint we got in the film to a slightly different one here. It presents another effective angle to Matt Reeves' Gotham on the small screen, and it gives you important details on the crime element of that structure. For me, the standouts were both the performances of Colin Farrell and Cristin Milioti, as every scene they had or shared, they nailed. Farrell's opening scene and monologue was a highlight, and you really get a sense of this character's feelings and his sense of revenge right from the outset. And of course, the final moment between him and Milioti was superb as well. Seeing the escalated infuse of violence and even language was shocking at first, but it really found its footing as the episode went on. Also, the visual presentation of Gotham here was striking, making you feel like you have returned to the world in the movie, but also from a grimier perspective. It felt like more of a gangster tale than a detective film, and seeing it on a street level helps to build out that tone. It's a brilliant start to this show, and I can't wait to see where it all goes from here. But I do hope this breakdown did help some of you guys understand the episode and the main details a bit better, and overall, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comments section. Also, stay tuned for my episode 2 trailer breakdown and more content every week on the new Batman series. For much more videos and news on the Batman universe and DC, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.